your health, wellness, your mental health, your psyche, all those good stuff. This is the day that we look at all those aspects. And concerning, of course, wellness and, your health, we want to, of course, tell you about the 21st edition of the Stand Chat Marathon. It is happening on the 27th of October 2024, and it will be on the Southern Bypass Road starting from Uhuru Gardens. And it's an activity that involves raising funds, of course, and it promotes equality and economic integration of the new generation. So if your family is up to it, corporates and the like, this can be your thing. This can be your gig, right? Because it involves a lot of, like a good camaraderie between friends and families and corporates and stuff like that. So this, if this is something that you like doing, mark the dates in your mind. 27th of October, 2024 is the 21st edition of the Stand Chat Marathon. Again, welcome to the show. It is Wellness Wave this Tuesday. And today we are looking at a very interesting trend. Now the trend is the ashwagandha trend. You know that Ayurvedic herb where people are, of course, taking it to relieve stress, to relieve some mental aspects here and there, to just have that good kind of wellness. So the herb is called ashwagandha. And with us in studio, we have Fatma Muhammad, and she is the founder of Wellness KE. Thank you so much for coming in,
Thank you for having me.
How
Good
are
morning.
you today?
I'm great, thank you. I'm happy to talk about a herb that has helped so many people, but there are also some precautions to take before you start taking it.
Of course, anything that is good must have,
of course,
the other side, the precautions. You can't just take it like it's candy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, then we have a question of the day, and we're asking you, have you heard about the new buzz around ashwagandha? Well, what are your thoughts on this trending supplement among young people? Have you heard about the new buzz around ashwagandha? And what are your thoughts on this trending supplement among young people? Well, you can get us on our social media handles. That is at K24 TV on Facebook. On X, our handle is at K24 TV, and our WhatsApp line is right there on your screens. Please tell us, Miskia hii ashwagandha? Kama mmesikia tafadhali tueleze, and then we will of course continue engaging with you, and Fatma here will elaborate more. So Fatma, exactly, just for the definition of what this herb is, what is ashwagandha?
So ashwagandha is a herb that is actually used as an adaptogenic herb. Basically, how your human body is structured, you are meant to be in a state of balance, whereby you can be able to have a balanced state of pH level so that you're not too acidic, not too alkaline. You also need to be in a state of balance in terms of your heartbeat, beats per minute, that is, you don't have an accelerated heartbeat too much. And so an adaptogenic herb is just a herb that's going to help you to bring you back to that state of balance. Because whenever you are out of that state of balance, usually what happens is your body goes through a state of stress. And so when you are stressed, you release a lot of cortisol. And when you release a lot of cortisol, you can have many health complications. For instance, the biggest one is weight gain. And that's why you find a lot of people who go through long-term stress will end up gaining a lot of weight. So ashwagandha as a herb is meant to be an adaptogenic herb that puts you back in that state of balance in your body. But of course, as much as we want to be able to gain the benefits, we should also know the precautions before we start taking it.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. This herb has been there for thousands and thousands of years, but as it is always, a new trend emerges where something that has been known comes to the fore, and then all of a sudden there's a whole wave. So why is it necessary in this particular time?
I think it's because right now we're seeing a really big trend whereby more and more people are interested in taking care of their health and their well-being, right? Because they're looking for ways that are going to help them to be more in the driver's seat in terms of their health and their well-being. And that is because you find that a lot of people are struggling with health complications here and there, lifestyle complications, because our lives are more sedentary. Even though you're going to leave your house and head to work, you're probably going to be seated all day, and the only time you probably get up is maybe as you head back home or head to lunch and so forth. And so because of that, we're seeing a really big wave whereby more and more people are now realizing, if I don't do something about my health, you know, then what happens? Like, am I now going to, is this going to be me? Maybe let's say you have issues with joint pain, or you have lower back pain, or you have very painful periods. Is this now going to be your future? And because more and more people are exposed to all this information, they want to now take control of their own health and well-being. But we have to insist that before you even do that, you have to know what it is that you are doing to your body, what you are adding to your body. There's nothing wrong with wanting better for yourself. The most important thing is for you to have the right information such that even when you make that decision, you're not going to be putting your health at risk.
I see. Right, you know, sometimes you find some individuals, they're not able to go and get proper treatment at hospitals because of different aspects, like, you know, they're not able to maybe pay, you know, it's a bit too costly and the like. So they decide on these herbal remedies, which is okay. But, you know, what we have found out is that if you have other underlying, you know, conditions or issues, this herb can maybe make things worse.
Yes, it can improve certain things, and it can also make things worse. And we can be able to explain that. So ashwagandha as a herb has many benefits, right? So it can be able to help you. If you have high blood pressure, it can be able to now help you in regulating blood pressure. If you have high blood sugar, which is a problem that's affecting a huge percentage of the population, high blood sugar levels and also high insulin levels because of our diet and our lifestyle, it can help you in regulating and making sure that you don't have elevated levels of blood sugar, because this will lead to, of course, diabetes, high blood pressure and other complications. It also helps with issues to do with fertility and reproductive health. We are seeing a really, really big shift whereby before we never had problems to do with fertility or our reproductive health, both men and women. But now we're seeing more men and women struggle with their fertility, and women especially having issues like reproductive issues like blocked fallopian tubes and infertility and PCOS, whereby they're not getting their period anymore. And so ashwagandha can be able to help you in boosting your fertility as well. Even low sex drive in women, it helps in boosting the libido. But again, when it comes to what you really need to be careful about, first of all, you need to know your blood pressure levels. So for instance, you've just seen this trend on TikTok and you've decided to start taking it, but you don't know what your blood pressure levels are. You have to make sure that you get that checked. You can do that at the hospital, or you can also get the kit, because there are some people who can do it from home. Another thing is your blood sugar levels. You might not know whether you have elevated blood sugar levels, you have normal blood sugar levels, and without knowing, if you start taking ashwagandha and it takes you to a much lower level of blood sugar, that can also be a problem. Another one is your thyroid health. Ashwagandha can help women who struggle with very slow thyroid problems. For instance, a thyroid that is not active, it is inactive. So it's actually a condition known as hypothyroidism. Now, if you have hypothyroidism, it's actually going to help you such that it speeds up your thyroid, right?
I see.
But let's look at a woman who has hyperthyroidism, meaning her thyroid is already overactive. If you take ashwagandha, then that means you're actually going to have negative side effects because your thyroid is already hyperactive. And so you struggle with a condition known as...
So you have the opposite effects of that.
Exactly. So the most important thing is for you to know you're taking it, but why are you taking it? Is it for stress levels? Is it for blood sugar levels, insulin levels? Is it for your blood pressure? Is it for fertility? And you have to run the proper tests, and the only way you can do that, of course, if you go to the hospital, get your doctor to run the proper tests. Then when you have your results, you know exactly where you're starting from, as opposed to saying I'm hopping onto this trend because I'm seeing it's helping many people. You have to know your numbers, which is something that I feel should be the biggest takeaway from this conversation, because so many of us feel like, okay, for instance, you wake up in the morning and you decide I want to lose weight, but then do you know how much you weigh right now? And then do you know your body mass index? Maybe the weight you're carrying is actually a healthy weight and you don't know. But if you know your weight and you know your height, you can calculate your body mass index, then you are aware, how much weight am I supposed to lose? Okay, now I'm bringing in ashwagandha to help me to lose weight, but then after a period of time, I can be able to stop such that I have achieved the results that I want. And now I'm back to a healthy state.
Yeah. You know, you've mentioned something quite interesting, because most of the time we look at herbs as something so, like, we don't look at the negative aspects of it, the side effects, because it's a herb, it's a natural thing, it grows from the earth, so we will be imparted in such a positive way. But most of the time, which I've come to learn, you don't understand your body, like you said, you know how much you weigh, you know, if you have high blood pressure, if you have low blood pressure. you know, your processes and the like. We're just not aware or in touch, you
We
know.
have to
so
be.
I think you need to also put into perspective what can be the negative side effects of herbs, despite the fact that they're very positive and natural and they grow, you know, from the earth.
Okay, I would say, I wouldn't necessarily call it a negative side effect. What I would say is just for you to take precautions such that this herb has been able to do its job, as I mentioned at the beginning. This is a herb that is meant to help you in adapting to stressful situations. So a stressful situation in your life can be, maybe you've received some bad news, it has put you under stress, emotional stress, and you need to actually feel calm, because ashwagandha can do that. Secondly, a stressful situation can also be chronic or long term. Maybe a loss of a loved one has put you in a state where you are emotionally down, and for a very long time you're going through this emotional distress. It can also be the fact that you have to wake up very early in the morning to go to work and work for longer hours and sleep very late. All these are translated as stress. Now, in terms of using herbal remedies, you need to know how much of the herbal remedy you need to use in order for it to serve a purpose. To be honest with you, every plant that is meant to help you, every herb contains chemicals in it that are beneficial to your body.
Right.
So plants are known as phyto, because that is just another word for plants, but these are called phytochemicals, and phytochemicals come into contact with your body and go into your body to improve your health. So the purpose initially is for it to improve your health. The problem is not necessarily with the herb. The problem is with us as human beings. When we see something is meant to help us, majority of the times, 99.99, we will overdo.
Yeah.
99.9. Even when I talk to all my clients, when they're on the weight loss plan, you tell them, if you use water and add apple cider vinegar or lemon in it, it will help you with belly fat or losing weight. And you find someone overdoing it and going like, okay, so I think I overdid it because my teeth feel a bit weak, my enamel feels weak because I'm drinking too much of it and maybe it's acidic. But it's because you didn't necessarily do what you were supposed to do in terms of the dosages. And that is so important for all of us to just remember. In anything, even if you were supposed to start taking honey every day, you're not going to excessively take honey, because when you do sit down with that kit and measure your blood sugar levels, you find that it has
high.
risen, and it's very high. Even if you eat dates, they're still healthy, but then you are going on to the extreme. If you were to eat cashews, which is my biggest weakness, it's cashews and dates, and I can excessively eat them, but then when I measure my blood sugar levels, I find that they're elevated. So the issue is not necessarily what is wrong with it, it's how we are using it, and how we are supposed to use it is important, such that when we do begin, we know this is me starting this journey and this is me tapping out, because it's already done its purpose. Where we see like more people struggling with feeling of numbness after taking ashwagandha, you find that they've been going on for years.
You're just super nonchalant.
Yes.
You know, like you just hear like, yeah, you're supposed to have been here 30 minutes ago. Yeah,
it's fine. It's because it buffers cortisol. It's actually a herb that buffers cortisol. So like I mentioned, when you are stressed, cortisol levels are high, because cortisol is released. And when cortisol is high, it's trying to help you with whatever stressful situation is happening in your body. But the thing is that ashwagandha now comes in so that it can help you to adapt. That's why it's an adaptogenic herb. It adapts to that situation and keeps you calm and helps you to deal with the stress. And also the negative side effects of stress, because when you have very high levels of cortisol, you are more likely to also gain weight, have high blood sugar, because cortisol is known as a fat storage hormone. There are some hormones in your body that encourage your body to store fat, like insulin, like estrogen, and cortisol is one of them. And it can also lead to production of blood sugar in your body, more blood sugar. And that also is a problem, because whenever you have high blood sugar levels, of course you're more susceptible to other conditions like high inflammation, diabetes, high blood pressure. So again, it's the health aspect that we need to focus on, as opposed to saying this is just one herb that's going to fix all my problems. No, you have to understand, like, what is it supposed to do? How is it supposed to do what it's supposed to do? And then another very important aspect is your lifestyle. Are you an active person? If you're an active person, then you will use ashwagandha, but a certain amount of ashwagandha. Different from someone who lives a sedentary lifestyle. Maybe you wake up in the morning, you work from home, you're seated at your computer the whole day. You live a more sedentary lifestyle, you will need a lower amount than the person who is an athlete or a fit person that's always working out, or someone who is physically more active, because they put their body through even more stress whenever they are working. Because again, stress in your body is not just emotional stress. It could be that you're doing something very difficult. Your body still translates that as stress. It could be that you're going through very painful periods. Your body will try and help you because that's a stressful environment that is within your body. Right. So understanding that aspect will help us so much when we're dealing with any kind of herbal remedy.
Interesting. Yeah. You know, on the aspect whereby most people become nonchalant, you know, after a long use of ashwagandha.
Yes.
I just want to get clear on the aspect of precaution. It does improve your memory.
Yes.
It does make you quite sharp and all that, you know. But does it, when after a long time of use, does it also now, when you become nonchalant, make you a bit, you know, dumbed down?
Are you slower?
Yes, are you slower?
Way?
Because now you're nonchalant, nothing moves you. You're not too happy, you're not too sad, you're just,
I understand.
You know, you're just there.
Yeah. So the first thing is, as you've mentioned, ashwagandha will actually help you with cognitive health, right? So your cognitive health is things like memory, and this women will relate to, because I related to it when I had fibroids. I used to forget things very easily. I'll place this cup here and then I don't remember.
You go looking for it.
Yeah. Or I walk into this room, I'm like, there's something I was supposed to do and I don't remember. So this is a question we get all the time, especially for us women. So that's more or less like your cognitive health, right? And so for some women, like, they get really worried about that and they want to fix it. Maybe you work with machinery at work. Maybe you're a pilot. Maybe you're a driver. Maybe whatever. So because of that, you really want to have your cognitive health, you know, at its best. And so ashwagandha comes in to help you with your cognitive function. But the thing is this, if you overuse it, if you overdo it and you're not taking the right amount, as I mentioned, you have to know your lifestyle. Are you a very active person or an inactive person? If you are inactive, then normally you would need about 100 milligrams a day, twice a day. So that's 200 milligrams. That's already enough. But if you're very
and that's in
active,
capsule or powder form? Yes, in
capsule, yes, or in powder form. But if you're very, very sedentary, like if you're very, very active rather, then you would need about 600 milligrams a day. You divide it to 300 milligrams and 300 milligrams. Right. And so you would start your day and take the ashwagandha because you're very active, you're about to go and work out, or you work a very physical job. Then you would take the 300 milligrams, because again, we've said that situation will put your body through under stress. Whatever it is you do for a living, that requires for you to be under stress because you're maybe working and lifting and all that. And then towards the end of the day, you would need to actually calm down. Like it actually allows you to be more relaxed, because there are people who have, majority of us, at the end of the day, we really want to feel very calm and relaxed before we go to bed. So it's a normal thing to do, whereby maybe you've eaten, you've showered, and then you take your ashwagandha, the 300 milligrams, if you are active, and then now you go to bed. So you would require that amount. The problem with that feeling of numbness comes about because you've taken it for a very long time. It has buffered your cortisol, and now your body does not know what to do because you've kept on telling it not to produce this cortisol, basically. Like, it's like you're saying, you know, like whenever there's a stressful situation, because naturally we will make cortisol, ashwagandha comes in to make sure that you don't have elevated levels of cortisol. You can cope with whatever situation. Now your body has now gone out of that rhythm, that natural rhythm. So if you do it for a very long time, then you find that you're going to struggle with that. If you do it for a very long time and also the wrong dosages, you are definitely going to struggle with that issue.
But not your memory, just the mood.
Yes, just the mood, and also just the, I can say, like being a little bit slower. You know, because you're more calm, you're less anxious. And this is something even for us women we can relate. We are more anxious than men. It's just natural because our hormones are cyclical. There'll be a time where estrogen will peak, there'll be a time where it'll go lower, and then progesterone will peak, it'll go lower. And every woman will tell you this is something that they've gone through, where it's more chemical. You know, I have gone through this myself, whereby I'm talking to someone, but I don't know what's going on. It's like chemicals are in my body are just going much lower, and I feel like I'm done with this conversation. I'm out. I don't really want to be here. I want to be in bed, and I just want to relax. And it's not intentional. You know, it's because it is a chemical reaction within your body, because your hormones are chemicals. They're actually within your bloodstream. You know, they are there to help you, but when they are out of balance, that's when you have issues. So with ashwagandha, we need to really remember that point. It's the fact that we should not overuse it, and we should also use it in the right dosages. Once it has done its job, tap out. Like, you can stop now. You feel like, now I'm able to handle the situation, or now I'm no longer in this state of chronic stress, I'm good. And I think another important thing we should share is what are some other natural ways, remedies that we can be able to manage our stress and cope, because that's going to help, such that you don't necessarily have to rush to this one thing to solve your problems.
Okay. All right. Now, of course, we're taking a short break, but before, I mean, by the time we come back, Fatma, we'll be looking at how it also affects men, you know, for this matter.
Yes.
And we asked you a question of the day. We're asking you, have you heard about the new buzz around ashwagandha? What are your thoughts on this trending supplement among young people? Tell us your thoughts on the same. Our handles are right there on your screen. On Facebook, our handle is at K24TV, on X at K24TV, and our WhatsApp line is right there on your screens. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more of this conversation. Stay with us.